4, 3, 2, calling together all amateur radio operators. This is the weekly net of the M17 Project. I am Ed, N2XDD, and I will be your net control station today. This net meets weekly on Fridays at 1700 hours UTC by means of the M17 Charlie Reflector. The purpose of this net is to relay and share information in regards to the M17 project. M17 is a new digital radio protocol in development as an alternative to those currently available with freedom in mind. Freedom in the code, protocol, voice codecs, and hardware. The goal is to provide a better option for digital radios in the future. We encourage all amateur radio operators to check into this net. We will take check-ins followed by an informal roundtable to discuss all things M17 related. I will now stand by for check-ins. When checking in, please key your mic and wait approximately 2 seconds, and then give me your call sign using proper ITU phonetics, followed by your name, location, and if you have any information for the net. I will now stand by for net check-ins. November 8, Victor, November Romeo, Kevin in Hillsborough, North Carolina. No traffic.
This is Kilo Charlie 1, Alpha Whiskey Victor, KC1AWV, Steve in Boston, Massachusetts. No traffic.
This is John, N2GYN, Long Island, New York. No traffic.
This is Phil, K9FH, near Chicago. No traffic.
India Uniform 2, Silvano, from Milan, Italy. Little of traffic.
This is November 7, Tango Alpha Echo, Tom, in Arizona. No traffic.
Wojciech, Sierra Papa 5, Whiskey Papa, from Warsaw, Poland. No traffic right now.
This is India Uniform 2, Kilo India November, Nicolò from Milan. No traffic.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll hold it up there. Net Control wishes to recognize N8 DNR Kevin, Steve KC1AWV, John, welcome back. We missed you last week. N2GYN, K9FH Phil, Silvano, I'm sorry. I saw you had traffic. I missed the end of your call sign. I have India Uniform 2, so when I call on you, you can just correct me with that. I apologize. Tom, N7TAE, SP5 WWP, who says he doesn't have any traffic. I think he's fibbing. And Nicolo, IU2KIN. Do we have any further stations to check into this week's M17 Project Net?
Yeah, sorry. My complete call sign is India Uniform 2, Kilo Whiskey Oscar. It was my fault. I forgot to tell you the end of my call sign. It's Friday and I'm tired. Back to you.
No worries, it happens. One of these days I'm going to memorize your call signs, our little Open RTX Italian group, so I apologize, guys. Another week or two I'll have them memorized. Anybody else with a check-in, please come now. Okay, hearing nothing, we're going to pass it back over to IU2KWO, Solano.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of updates about our development status. Currently, I'm working on the huge and big and complete refactoring of the radio code, which is, prerequisite for M17 modulation on MD380. Today I almost finalized work on MD380. Still something to do on GD77 TM1801 and the dual band version of MD380, the UV380. I think that in a week or so this part will be finished, I hope. Other updates are about the compensation of the PWM filter we had. As I told you on Discord, I managed to fully characterize the RC filter, which is cascaded to the output of my MCU we use for M17 modulation. I proved that the values in the schematic are correct, and so I was able to design a compensating transfer function for that. Implemented in code, we tested it, it works like a charm. And then last step by Niccolò was tuning a bit the microphone, the input gain of the HR C500 to avoid the compression of the eye diagram, and so to obtain a perfectly clean signal. And so on that side we are okay. So I'm confident to say that we have found a reliable way to transmit M17 baseband signal on MD380. Next steps after the radio code refactoring will be porting maybe the code of Mobilinked and try effectively to sample input stream from microphone, encode it with codec 2, put it into frames, and to effectively transmit real-time voice with M17 from the rig. Updates more or less are this one, and back to net control.
Okay, Silvano, thank you very much for the updates on the OpenRTX project, and thank you guys for all the hard work you're doing over there, and for the collaboration with the M17 project. This is a great community, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and it's glad to see two like-minded communities bridge together with a similar goal in mind. So, with that, does anybody have any questions or comments in regards to the updates to the OpenRTX project, or in regards to in particular, the MD380 part of it, in regards to M17 capabilities? I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a brain fart there, guys. This is N2XDD Net Control Station. Do we have anybody with any questions or comments? Okay, hearing nothing, let's move on, see if we have any additional check-ins for this week's session of the M17 Weekly Net. Once again, this is N2XDD Net Control Station. Any late check-ins or anyone with any questions or comments in regards to either the M17 project or the OpenRTX project, please call Net Control now.
G7UHN. Golf 7 Uniform Hotel November.
G7UHN, thank you and welcome. I believe you're a first-time check-in here. I'm sorry, can you just come back with your name, please?
Yeah, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you are. Yeah, my name's Andy. I'm over in the UK. Yeah, I'm a first-time check-in. I've sort of been watching the project recently on activity on Twitter and OpenRTX, and I think it's really exciting. I thought I'd check in this week and see what's going on. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the check-in, and we love all the international stations that we get checking in here. Like I said earlier, it's a great community and bringing in people from all over the world. So do we have anybody else with any late check-ins, questions, or comments for the M17 project? Please come now.
This is 88DP.
$88DP. Good afternoon, Doug. We got you down here. Do you have anything to add?
No, not much. Just chiming in saying hello. And, oh, well, I did make some Reflector changes that will hopefully be up in the Play Store this week. The biggest change is toggle for the TX button instead of push and hold. And it'll remember your mode. So if you're on M17, it'll come back up in M17 from now on instead of always reverting back to D-Star Ref. So those are the two main things. Some other stuff here and there, but those are the two main things regarding M17. So that's all I got. Back to you, Net Control from 88DP.
Hi, 88DP. Thanks again for that, Doug. Looking forward to the updates. I'll download that as soon as it becomes available to me on the Play Store. I'm currently using DroidStar today to host the net. So the toggle switch would come in pretty handy right now. And I like the remembering function. It's going to remember my last mode that I connected to. So looks like big things happening over there as well. Do we have anybody else with any traffic check-ins or questions? Please come now.
And TGIF with query.
How you doing today, John? Go ahead with your query.
Yeah, it's something Doug just mentioned. ADP. I want to see if I understood it right. When you say toggle, are you talking about like a lock button on DroidStar and DudeStar, where you, instead of having to hold the TX, you can hit the toggle, and then when you're ready to unkey, you untoggle? Is that what you're referring to, or am I misunderstanding? And to GYN, back to that.
Doug, if you're still there, please feel free to go direct with N2GYN. Okay, seems like we might have lost Doug for a second, but John, we'll circle back in a little bit when Doug rejoins us, and we'll see if we can answer to your question. So with that, this is N2XDD, Net Control Station, looking for any check-ins or anyone with traffic for the weekly M17 Project Net. Please call Net Control.
W0TV, Whiskey Zero Tango Victor.
W0TV, welcome. Can I have your name, please, and do you have any traffic for us today?
Name here is Dave, listening in, and hoping that at some point DroidStar is actually able to maintain a connection when it is not in the foreground, because that's my biggest difficulty with it, is I switch over to something else and I'm disconnected. That's it. Back to net control.
Okay, Dave, thank you for joining us here today. And in regards to your concerns with DroidStar, I believe that was addressed sometime during this past week with Doug on our Discord server. And I think he said it would be pretty much of a deep dive of coding for him to get that working, something to do with the permissions inside the Android system. So it's definitely a concern of a lot of different users, but it's not the end of the world. With that, Doug, AD8DP, are you back with us?
See if this is working here. Okay. I don't know if my last response came through or not. The one about asking about the TX button. I just quickly wanted to say that it's just I was just describing changing the button on DroidStar to toggle instead of push to hold, but DroidStar only. And then but I said I wanted to make clear I don't want this to turn into a DroidStar net. That's not what this net is for. So I just wanted to quickly just say back to net control, and because there's already another DroidStar thing about that's actually a choice. That's not because of any coding problems. I do not want DroidStar being used unless it has your full attention. You either use it or you don't. I don't want it being used in the background until maybe forever. I don't know, but way too many problems with that. So, but back to net control, and yeah, let's not turn this into a DroidStar net. 88 dp.
Okay, Doug. Thank you for answering those two inquiries there, and I was mistaken. So it's a choice to have it not being able to run in the background, which makes sense with the way you described it. This is N2XTV Net Control Station for this week's M17 Weekly Net. Do we have any further check-ins or anyone else with traffic? Please call Net Control.
KC1AWV.
KC1AWV. I was waiting for you to chime in. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I've got a few things going on in the background over here, but yeah, I wasn't able to put my full attention into the net as I normally do, but you know, I got a couple of seconds here that I can take to do a couple of updates. So one of the things is I did the adjustments to the Allstar connection into the reflector, and it seems to be doing a whole lot better. The audio levels are a lot more sensible. You know, I'm not getting blown out by, you know, people that are coming in on different clients and that kind of thing. So, you know, the audio definitely sounds much better coming into Allstar. So I'll, you know, if anybody's interested into what kind of settings that I had changed, you know, I can let you know, but it seems to be one of those things that you need to adjust according to your own setup. It's not like one of those things where it's the settings are going to be universal across all the platforms. But I think I found the settings that make the most amount of sense for me here. And also this weekend, I should be able to have some time to do the M17 mods to a pair of UV380s. Those came in, well, they came in on Sunday, and I kind of wanted to work on them on Sunday, but I was out with the family. But you know, the rest of my tools and everything came in, so I should be able to do the mods on the MDUV380. And if things work out the way that I want them to, I might even be able to live stream it, but the lab is currently infested with children, so if I do a live stream, there may be, kids in the background, so hopefully that won't be too much of a distraction for me, but I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today, so I'll go ahead and pass it back to Net Control. This is KC1AWV.
All right, Steve, thank you for the updates to the Allstar situation. We appreciate the hard work you put into this project, and looking forward to your modifications on the UV380s. And I'm sure with your modifications will come a nice little write-up or at least some nice pictures to go along with it to document your process. So we definitely appreciate the work that you put in. Additionally, when you do these projects, to documenting them and taking pictures and whatnot. So your hard work is appreciated by one and all here on the M17 project. Do we have any other late check-ins or anybody else with any questions or comments? Please come now. Okay, SP5WWP, how about you? Do you have anything to add this week?
I'm working on setting up a repeater in my town still, so I'm trying to get some stuff needed, like a server, like a base station. That's Motorola MTR 2000, and I've got a scheduled meeting with the heat plant manager next Wednesday. Let's call him the chimney guy. So we are going to talk about some technical details about the setup. So how to mount the antenna, how to mount the coax cable to the chimney, and where to place the cabinet, the rack cabinet. So that's next Wednesday. And I would like to congratulate OpenRTX team. Great work, guys. I'm really impressed. And I would like to see M17 in MD380 finally. And I know that's just a small step, one more step, little step to make, and it will just work. So that's great. And I know that KC1AWV Steve is working with KC8 ACO on GN300 to Raspberry Pi interface, and they have got some updates on that. So the board is probably almost ready. The bill of materials is also ready, or almost ready. SP5 repeaterman, yeah. So that's about it. Back to Net Control from SP5WWP.
KSP5WWP, thank you for the updates there, and looking forward to hearing how you make out with your meeting with the chimney guy in regards to getting your M17 repeater up and on the air. Big things happening over there. So looking forward to hearing updates on your project as well there. Do we have anybody else with any questions, comments, late check-ins in regards to the M17 project? Please call Net Control. This is N2XDD.
Okay, Sierra Papa 5 again.
Whiskey Papa, go ahead.
That's right, Whiskey Papa. I have ordered GPSDO for the repeater, so the frequency stability is going to be really superb in that repeater. So I just wanted to add that back to Net Control.
Very good. And you're another one who well documents their projects and takes lots of pictures and usually have a very informative write-up in regards. So looking forward to that coming from you as well. This is N2XDD Net Control Station. This is the weekly net for the M17 project. Do we have anybody with any questions or comments or any late check-ins? Please call Net Control now.
India Uniform 2, Kilo India November.
Nico, please come now with your traffic.
Thank you. So I wanted to share a very brief story which made my day this week. And basically, on our Discord server, a ham operator reached out and said that basically our guide for modding the MD UV380 for supporting M17 gave him the confidence to do the mod. So, the detail in the guide, the pictures, the photo description enabled him, to do the mod. Maybe if we didn't put the photo in there, he wouldn't have done the mod. And this was very inspiring to me and also to Federico, who actually wrote the guide, because this means that maybe sometimes you are technically able to do something, but you are still, stopped by yourself, by your lack of self-confidence. So you don't experiment, you don't try to do, despite risking of failing, maybe. So I believe that the bottom line is that we as OpenRTX, but M17 as a whole project has this beneficial influence of enabling people to believe in themselves and to experiment. Because once it's not easy to continue to experiment with technical stuff. It's not easy to dare to break your radios just for the sake of having fun with experimental modes, and we are pushing people to do that, and I believe this is great. It's just a story from this week. So back to you, Net Control.
Nico, thanks for sharing that. It could be a very intimidating project. Just the thought of opening up a handheld and going in and doing some modifications would definitely scare some people. But like I said earlier, with in regards to the M17 project, and equally as well to the OpenRTX project, the documentation and the photographs that accompany these different modifications and projects that both teams are accomplishing is just spectacular. And everything's broken down and well documented, and it makes it a lot easier for the average person to go in and attempt these things. So hats off also to our friends over on the OpenRTX project for their continued hard work and dedication. So this is N2XDD Net Control Station. Do we have anyone else who wishes to check in or has any traffic or questions or concerns? Please call now.
Quick question, N2GYN.
N2GYN, John in Long Island, go ahead.
I've never looked into it, so maybe it exists. My question is there a video? Has anybody made a YouTube video showing exactly, physically, how to mod the 380 and have the M17 work?
Okay, John, to my knowledge, there is no video documentation as of now on the actual mod to the UV380, but that possibly may change this weekend when our very own KC1AWV is going to mod 2 of his UV380. So that might be something that will either be live streamed or video documented and uploaded to the M17 Project YouTube site sometime later this weekend or early next week. Steve, would you wish to add anything to that? KC1AWV.
Yeah, I don't want to make any promises. We seem to be kind of jumping the gun with, having video proof of, video documentation of these mods and everything like that. There hasn't been really extensive testing with the mods and the M17 mode on the radio, so I would rather be a little bit more, err on the side of caution about, releasing anything that could be construed as a document or a official guide on how to make these modifications and, what to expect with loading in the firmware and how to operate the radio. So remember, we're still in the very early stages of M17, and it's going to take a lot of testing, a lot more man hours than what I have available in order to make these pieces of information public. So if I do have the chance, if I do have the ability to do a live stream, I'll just go ahead and live stream it and make it available on the M17 YouTube channel. But again, family's going to be over. I can't guarantee that I will have the quiet time in order to be able to do it with people watching across, potentially across the world. My sister's kids are young and they're hams in the sense that they like to sit in front of a camera and make faces. So I don't know if I would want to make sure, or I want to make sure that people would be able to pay attention to what I'm doing rather than what might be going on in the background. So I'll do my best effort as far as to show what I'm doing and maybe clip together something for a guide. But it's early in the game, so just have patience. We'll have better documentation and better guides to follow as we progress. So the guide that is provided by OpenRTX is superb. It shows in awesome detail the modifications that have to be made to the radio. So literally what I would be doing is just making a video of that. So if you can read the instructions and see the pictures, it's literally going to be the same thing that I'm doing. It's just that I'll be, talking through it rather than just taking photos. So I'd just be duplicating their work that they've already provided to us. So I hope that covers that. So this is KC1AWV, back to Net Control.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for that very thorough explanation. So, I expect from you, once you get everything together and you're satisfied with it, you will release any details you might have come across to make the procedure that much easier for the next person to try it out or take away any mysteries that might be behind it. But like you said, the OpenRTX guys do have a very great and detailed procedure documented on their website. So that's something, John, you might want to check out. This is N2XDD, Net Control Station. This is the weekly M17 Project Net. Do we have any other late check-ins or anybody else with any traffic or questions? Please call Net Control.
N7TAE with a question.
N17TAE, Tom in Arizona. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to the OpenRTX team. That's looks like fantastic work. I'm considering pulling the trigger on an MD380 and seeing if I can do this myself. It looks good. But my question more revolves around the other end of this. I think one of the things that we probably should be talking about on this net is how to get a hotspot an M17 hotspot working as quickly as possible. Now, I know Jonathan is supporting that endeavor, but I don't know what the state of it is, and I don't know what's involved to get a hotspot up and working on M17 besides just downloading a branch of code from him. I presume there'll be some sort of a new firmware necessary for like a Zoom Spot or a DV Mega or whatever. I'd kind of like to hear the status of that, if anybody has any information on that. Back to that control, N7TAE.
Hi, thank you, Tom, for that question in regards to having M17 compatible with an MMDVM hotspot. I know there's been some talk in our Discord chat with Jonathan and a couple of the members of the M17 project as of late in regards to the progress of that. And I think it's still a little bit out. There's still some testing that has to get. Does anybody from the M17 team have anything in regards to that? Some insight into what Jonathan has in mind getting the MMDVM project to work with M17 on a hotspot.
KC1AWV.
Steve, the floor is yours.
Well, I suppose that's better than the floor being lava. So, yeah, the MMDVM side of everything being put together. I do have a working MMDVM modem that's attached to a Motorola CDM old commercial radio, and it seems to be working pretty well. It can receive a hotspot and send it to a Reflector. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot what it was. So, yeah, the sending from a hotspot to a modem is working. However, Doug and I have both discovered an issue with an MMDVM receiving information. And there's, I've been able to, extract some information, and I'm sure that Doug and Jonathan are also talking about it as well. But it's the receive part for that ADF chip that's on the board. It seems to have some issue making sense out of what's going on. And I believe it is specifically the ADF chip, not the protocol that's causing the issue, because working with a commercial radio and an MMDVM modem, not the hotspot, it seems to be working just fine. So I need to get another MMDVM modem and have another radio so that they can talk to each other. And as a matter of fact, that may actually turn into a repeater as well. So if I do have the money available, I'll set another radio up and see if the two modems can talk to each other, and hopefully that will give us a bit more insight as to what might be going on with the hotspot itself. So the hotspot, as it is, can transmit, but the receive seems to be an issue. However, the MMDVM modem, that's working pretty good. So I hope that answers Tom's question. KC1AWV, back to net control.
Thank you again for that detailed response, Steve. Tom, N7TAE, does that answer your question or point you in the right direction as to where this is going?
I don't think so. I'm a little dense when it comes to discussion of hardware topics, but what I'm really interested in is, it seems like you guys are talking about building repeaters, and that's great, that's wonderful, but I'm talking about just a simple hotspot with available hardware the ubiquitous Zoom Spot, for example, the ubiquitous DV Mega, for example, which are well supported within MMDVM host. PyStar is a good example of an application that uses those hardwares. It uses that series of hardware. How close are we to having an MMDVM working? Having M17 working on just a simple commercial hotspot like a Zoom Spot or a DV Mega? Is what I'm getting at. And forgive me, maybe you did answer the question, but I didn't hear the answer exactly.
Steve, do you want to clarify that point with Tom?
Yeah, not a problem. I have a tendency to be pretty verbose at times. So, the question about the hotspot, the little MMDVM hotspots with an ADF chip, M17 transmits well. It's the receive part that we're having an issue with. Myself, Doug, 88DP, and Jonathan, G4KLX, we're all aware of the issue, and we are working on trying to resolve that issue. I'm not 100% sure as to what the issue is. So we're 50% there. We can transmit, but we're having issues receiving on a hotspot.
Thank you, Steve, for clearing it up. So, Tom, it looks like we're about 50% there, about halfway there to having a fully functioning MMDVM that's capable of M17. But we don't know how long the other 50% will take until we can reach completion on that. So, Tom, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, good enough, good enough. I'm looking forward to you guys figuring out how to get that all wired up. I think once we can build, once users can easily download code to make an MMDVM, an M17 compatible MMDVM host-based system with hardware that's readily accessible to them, you're going to see things take off like crazy on M17, I think. Anyway, back to the net. This is M17AE.
Hi, thank you, Tom. We appreciate you checking in and your question there. I'm sure it was on a lot of people's minds. Hey, this is N2XDD Net Control Station for the weekly M17 Project Net. Do we have anybody else with any questions, comments, or perhaps any late check-ins? Please call Net Control now.
This is KC1AWV-R Bob in Philadelphia with a question.
Hi, Bob, welcome. I got KC3, so when I pass it back to you with your question, if you can just phonetically give me the remainder of your call sign, I'd appreciate it. KC3, Bob, go ahead.
Hey, that's Lima Yankee Zulu, LYZ. Yeah, you guys were mentioning the PyStar hotspots. I was wondering if you made any connection with the OpenSpot 3 developers to get it going over there also.
All right, Net Control wishes to recognize Bob in Philly, KC3LYZ. At this time, I do not believe any progress or anything has been in talks with the OpenSpot 3 guys in regards to porting M17 over to their protocol as of yet. But I could be wrong. There could be stuff going in the background. But as far as I know right now, it's just with the MMDVM boards. So I hope that answers your question, Bob.
Hey, thanks. That should be good.
And thanks again for checking in, Bob. I think you're a first-time check-in here. I didn't recognize the call sign, but I might be wrong. This is N2XDD Net Control Station. Do we have anybody else with any traffic?
KC1AWV.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, just to provide a little bit of clarification on Bob's question. No, we have not reached out to anybody at OpenSpot. The reasoning that we're focusing more on the MMDVM is because it's open. As far as I know, there is no open source code for OpenSpot. There is no open source schematics or plans for the OpenSpot platform. From what I understand, it's pretty much the same as an MMDVM. If you can run it on an MMDVM, you can run it on an OpenSpot. It's not to say that they're not allowed to do it themselves. They're more than welcome to take our protocol and add it into the MMDVM. I'm sorry, they're more than welcome to take our protocol, put it into the OpenSpot, under the stipulation that when they do that, then they let us know how they were able to do it. You know, it's just one of those licensing things. You know, if they implement it, they have to abide by the license, which means that it's open source. So the way that they implement it, they have to make it open. So I don't know how OpenSpot does any of their other protocols. I'm not sure if they're using open source code in order to be able to achieve what they're doing. But I haven't seen anything for OpenSpot to make any sort of claims or validations on that. So that's why we're focusing on MMDVM. And you know, if anybody at OpenSpot wants to talk to us, I'm more than happy to have a conversation to see what we can do about putting M17 on those as well. KC1AWV, back to Net Control.
Thank you, Steve and Bob. I hope Steve, KC1AWV, further clarified the answer to your question there. Anybody else with any traffic, please call Net Control. This is N2XDD.
Sierra Papa 5.
Mr. Whiskey Papa, please go ahead.
That's correct. I've got something to add. I'm about to add something to this specification. We have been thinking about repurposing the nonce field in the superframe, because when someone is not using encryption, about or exactly 128 bits per superframe are wasted. They are just zeros. So we are going to use, when there is no encryption used, we are going to repurpose that field for position data. So there's going to be latitude, longitude, height, and course and heading, I believe. So there won't be no waste for the node field. So instead of sending zeros, we are going to send position data. SP5 Whiskey Papa clear.
Thank you, Wojciech, for that update there. So, do we have anybody else with any questions, comments, or late check-ins? Please call Net Control.
M17 quick comment on the position data.
Go ahead, Tom.
I guess I need to pay attention closer to the group activities, but that's good news, Wojciech. That's really good news, and I think maybe some extra lines in the extra lines of code in the Reflector might be kind of nice if that position data was reported out onto the web page. Anybody agree with me? Does that seem like a good idea? N17AE.
I think I'm transmitting. Am I? Yes. Okay. Tom, the only issue that we may run into is for what do they call that over in Europe? The data privacy thing. GLPR, I don't remember what the acronym is, but the data privacy issue seems to be a pretty hot topic with Europe. The only problem that I see is if we're putting people's location information on a web page, it would GDPR. Thank you, I appreciate that. GDPR. Yeah, the only issue would be that in Europe, but that's not to say that APRS data is considered public and we can just go ahead and post it. We might have to look at what the legal implementation or implications of posting that information on a website would be. You could argue that somebody that is sending that information over the air intends on it being public, but I don't know. I can't think about these kind of issues until they really become a talking point, and somebody more smart than I am has the ability to answer those questions. But having it included into the reflector and being able to pass it around, that's fine, but posting it on the website, I would say we might want to ask somebody that knows more about the laws than I do. KC1AWV.
SP5?
Go ahead.
Well, I might be able to add this to the specification next week, so that's for your information.
Okay, thank you for that, Wojciech. Anybody else with any questions or comments in regards to anything M17 related or late check-ins? Please call Net Control. Okay, gentlemen. Sounds like we might be coming to a close here. I'll drop it one more time for any late check-ins or anybody else with any questions or concerns in regards to the M17 project. And hearing nothing, then we'll close the net. So do we have anybody else before we go ahead with the closing procedures? Okay, hearing nothing, I want to thank all those stations that checked in today for participating and supporting the net. Your help in maintaining this net is appreciated by one and all. And it's really reflecting in how this community is growing with all the support that these projects are getting. So this is N2XDD, and the net is now secure at, looks like 1750 hours UTC, 7-3 all.
Well, I guess since the net is closed, I can make a personal call. N2XDD